My brothers and sisters, my fellow travelers on this journey we call life tonight, I stand before you not as a man who has conquered all, but as one who has endured, one who has stumbled and risen again, one who has learned that the greatest power we possess as human beings is the power to choose. Life is not something that happens to us. It is something we shape, something we mold, something we create with the decisions we make every single day. Attitude is your choice. Happiness is your choice. Optimism is your choice. Kindness is your choice. Giving is your choice. Respect is your choice. These are not just words to comfort you. When life gets hard, they are truths that determine the very essence of who you are and who you will become. You see, life is not built by chance. It is built by choice. And the kind of person you are is the result of the choices you have made not once, not twice, but every day of your life. When I was a young man in South Africa, I thought that freedom was something others could give or take from me. I thought my happiness depended on the actions of the government, on the cruelty of oppression, on the walls that confined me. But years behind those bars taught me something that no book, no speech, no teacher ever could. They taught me that freedom begins in the mind. It begins in the heart. They may have taken away my physical liberty, but they could not imprison my spirit. They could not dictate my attitude. I chose hope. I chose forgiveness. I chose to believe in the goodness of humanity, even when I was surrounded by hatred. And that choice, my brothers and sisters, saved my soul. We all face prisons of our own, making fear, resentment, anger, pride. We build walls around our hearts because we are afraid of being hurt. We close our minds because we are afraid of being wrong. But true freedom, true peace, comes when you decide that your attitude will no longer be a reflection of your circumstances, but an expression of your character. You may not control the weather, the economy, or the cruelty of another man, but you always control how you respond. That is your greatest weapon and your greatest gift. When you wake each morning, you are faced with choices that will define your day. You can choose bitterness, or you can choose gratitude. You can choose to complain about what you lack, or you can choose to celebrate what you have. You can choose to see obstacles, or you can choose to see opportunities. I learned long ago that the world does not need more people who cast the darkness. It needs people who will light a candle, even if it is small, even if it flickers, even if it seems that the wind will blow it out. The attitude you carry shapes the energy you bring into the world. It determines how others see you, how you see yourself, and ultimately, how you live your life. If you approach each day with a heart full of anger, you will find enemies wherever you go. But if you walk with humility and love, you will discover that even in the harshest of places, there are friends waiting to be found. There were days on Robben Island when I questioned everything. I questioned whether justice was real. I questioned whether peace was possible. I questioned whether I would ever see the sun rise over a free South Africa. But every time despair crept into my heart, I remembered my power to choose. I could choose to hate my captors, or I could choose to understand that they too were prisoners of their own ignorance. I could choose to curse the darkness, or I could choose to become a light. That choice to hold on to faith, to hold on to humanity, to hold on to hope, was what sustained me through 27 long years behind those walls. My friends, happiness is not something you wait for. It is something you create. It does not come when your problems disappear. It comes when you decide to face them with courage. It does not come when life becomes easy. It comes when you find joy even in difficulty. I have seen men smile in the darkest cells, and I have seen others weep in palaces of gold. Happiness has little to do with wealth or comfort, and everything to do with your spirit. Optimism is not blindness to pain. It is the refusal to let pain define you. It is the strength to look at the mountain before you and say, I will climb it, even if I must crawl. It is the belief that no night lasts forever, that the dawn will always come. I did not survive those years in prison because I was strong. I survived because I refused to surrender my optimism. I refused to believe that hate would win. Kindness, too, is a choice. When we are wronged, when the world seems cruel, kindness can feel like weakness, but it is not. Kindness is strength under control. It is the ability to look into the eyes of your enemy and see a human being. It is the courage to forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. There were men in that prison who had beaten me, starved me, and humiliated me. Yet when freedom came, I shook their hands, not because I forgot, but because I chose to free myself from bitterness. Hatred is a chain. Forgiveness breaks it. When you choose kindness, you choose liberation for yourself and for the world around you. Giving is also a choice. Many people believe that giving is about money or material things. It is not. Giving is about time, attention, and compassion. You give when you listen to someone who has been silenced. You give when you speak for someone who cannot speak for themselves. You give when you lend your strength to someone who has none left. The measure of your life will not be what you take, but what you give. And respect is the foundation of every relationship, every community, every nation. When we respect one another, we build bridges instead of walls. Respect is not agreement. It is acknowledgement of another's humanity. When you look at someone and see not their color, their title, their wealth, or their mistakes, but simply another soul doing their best to survive, then you understand. Respect. My brothers and sisters, every choice you make shapes the person you become. It shapes your destiny. It shapes the world around you. If you choose hate, the world becomes darker. If you choose love, it becomes brighter. If you choose fear, you shrink. If you choose courage, you grow. The future of humanity depends on what we choose. Each of us, every day, in the quiet moments when no one is watching. You may say, but Mr. Mandela, the world is unjust. There is so much suffering, so much inequality. So much cruelty. How can I stay hopeful? And I will tell you this. Hope is not the absence of struggle. Hope is what gives struggle its meaning. Without struggle, there can be no progress. Without pain, there can be no growth. The question is not whether life will test you. It will. The question is, what will you choose when it does? Choose to rise. Choose to stand. Choose to love. Choose to forgive. Choose to keep walking, even when your legs tremble, even when your heart aches, even when the path seems endless. Because every step you take toward light makes the world a little brighter for someone else. I am often asked how I endured 27 years behind bars without losing my faith. And I say to them, I did lose it many times, but every time I did, I made a choice to find it again. I reminded myself that no matter how deep the night, the stars are still shining. You cannot see them. If your eyes are closed in despair, you must lift your gaze. You must believe that beyond the walls, beyond the pain, beyond the suffering, there is still goodness, still beauty, still love, waiting to be discovered. The greatest victory is not in never falling, but in rising every time you fall. That is the meaning of choice. That is the meaning of courage. Every time you choose to rise instead of surrender, you reclaim a piece of your humanity. So tonight, I ask you, what will you choose? Will you choose to live as a victim of circumstance or as an author of your destiny? Will you choose to see yourself as powerless or as a creator of change? The world will try to tell you that you are small, that you are insignificant, that your choices do not matter. But let me tell you this, every act of courage, every gesture of kindness, every word of hope ripples through eternity. You may not see its impact, but it changes lives. It shapes hearts. It transforms the world. When you leave this place tonight, carry this truth with you. Attitude is your compass. Kindness is your strength. Forgiveness is your freedom. And love is your legacy. Let these be your choices. Not once, but every day. Because when enough people choose light over darkness, love over hate, peace over revenge, the world cannot help but change. My brothers and sisters, the time is always now. The choice is always yours. So choose wisely, choose bravely, choose love, and together let us build a world worthy of our children, a world defined not by what we have endured, but by what we have chosen to become.